channel. Welcome to Vlogmas day 17. Now today I'm going to try and attempt to show you how I make my infamous reindeer biscuits. These are my gingerbread reindeer biscuits. They are absolutely delicious and I'm going to try and show you how I make them right now. So into a bowl I've put 10 ounces of self-raising flour. Just got normal self-raising flour there from Morrison's. So I've put that, and I've put in 2 ounces of margarine. I'm using this plant-based margarine to make it dairy free, but you can use stork, you can use butter, you can use whatever you want. So I've put that in there. So 10 ounces flour, 2 ounces of margarine. I'm then adding 3.5 ounces of brown sugar. You can use normal white sugar, but I like to use brown sugar because it gives it that real sort of like gingerbread taste. It gives it that sort of dark brown sort of colour and texture, and I just find that brown sugar works really well for gingerbread. So I've got 3.5 ounces of that. Then I've got some ground ginger, a good 3 teaspoons of that. If you like it a bit more gingery, add a bit more. If you don't, add a bit less. And then you need some syrup, which I've left in the cupboard. So I'm just going to grab my syrup now. So I've grabbed my syrup now. It's golden syrup. So what I've done is I've just rubbed the fat into the flour to make breadcrumbs, like that. So now I'm going to add my sugar in there, and I'm also going to add my ginger. I like them really gingery, and I haven't got much ginger left, so I'm basically just scraping out whatever's left in my ginger. You can see that, it's just ground ginger. So but a good 3 teaspoons is the recipe, but as I say, add to taste, and I'm just adding what I've got because mine are all empty now. I have put it on my shopping list for the next time I go off, and then I'm just going to give this a good mix. And because it's brown sugar, there might be a few little lumps in it, so I'm sort of just pressing them down to break it all up. There we are. Just give it a good mix. As I say, sometimes it does have a few little sugar lumps in there, but it doesn't matter. It just gives it a bit of burst of flavour when you bite into them when they're cooked. It's never sort of harmed us yet. So you can see with the brown sugar already, it's making it like a nice dark colour. So, and with the ginger, it already smells like gingerbread. It's so nice. Okay, now I always add way too much syrup to my gingerbread. I like really soft, gooey gingerbread. So if you like yours a bit more crispy and hard, add a bit less. The recipe is actually 3 tablespoons, but I always make sure mine are quite a generous tablespoon because, as I say, I like mine a bit gooey. So here we are, one more in there. It's always a bit sticky, but that's what I like about it. So there we go. So I've got my 3 very generous tablespoonfuls of syrup in there, and then I always use water, but you can use milk, but because I've always made this recipe dairy free, I just use a bit of boiled water. So I just put a little tiny bit in just to sort of melt the syrup a bit and get it to sort of mix in, and you basically just add a little bit at a time until it makes a dough. And as my mum said, my old mum, you can always add more, but you can't take it away. So I literally just add a tiny splash and then mix it again. You don't want it too dry, but at the same time, if it's too sticky, it's a nightmare to try and roll out. Mine's always a little bit awkward to roll because I add so much syrup. So I don't roll it, I sort of pat it with a rolling pin. So I'll show you in a minute how sticky is that. I'm going to add just the tiniest bit more water. Give that a good stir. And then soon I'm going to see if I can bring this together now into a big dough. Yeah. So I'm just going to scrape that off now. And then I'm going to use my hands just to knead it into a dough. It's sticking to my fingers. It's lovely. Smell, I wish you could smell it. It smells so good. So yeah. There we go. So I've brought it together to a nice dough. So I'm just going to wash my hands before I start rolling it out and cutting it into shapes. So I've taken some of my dough and I've put plenty of flour on my board because it is very sticky, but it's not too bad. And then I'm going to roll it very gently. I'm not going to press down hard or else it'll just stick everywhere. Now, and then I'm going to turn it over. And I'm gently, very gently, sometimes if it's really sticky, I just sort of pat it like this, because if you try to roll it, it just sticks everywhere. But this isn't actually too bad. It's just because of the syrup in it, and if you've been a bit generous with the syrup, you just have to be a bit careful when you roll it out. I like mine reasonably thick, because I don't like thin, crunchy biscuits. I like my gingerbread a bit doughy. So I'm rolling it out. I'm just trying to think what thickness it would be. About that thick. Can you see that? What's that? Centimetre? Half a centimetre? I don't know. It's trial and error really. See what you like. So there we are. And then I'm going to take my cutter. Now this is my reindeer biscuit. It's actually, can I see that? That is a gingerbread man, but if you turn it upside down and squeeze the top, you get a reindeer head. I showed this on one of my other videos. So it's the head of the gingerbread is the head of the reindeer. The little arms are the ears and the legs are the antlers. I have cut some out already, so I'll show you. Here's some I prepared earlier. But like you see, that if you turn it that way round, it's like a gingerbread man. When you turn it around that way, if you've squeezed the legs a little bit, you get a reindeer, and I've put some chocolate chips for the eyes and a Smartie for the nose to make them into reindeer biscuits. I've also made a little Christmas tree shape. I'm not very good with the camera at this angle, am I? And I've put some sweets on here. These are Smarties. These are actually vegan Smarties here to make this vegan. And I've put them on to be like the lights on a Christmas tree. And I've also done some holly shapes there as well. You can put, the only trouble I've got with these plant-based, there's no red Smarties in there. There's no red. So if you've got ordinary ones, you can put some red on the holly to be like holly berries. And you can, of course, give Rudolph red noses. So I'm just going to cut these out now. Sometimes you have to be really careful with them because the ears can get stuck. So if that happens, what I find the best thing to do is to just get a knife and just gently pat them out. But I'm just going to see if this one comes out when I've got it on the tray. Hang on. I should have showed it. I've got the tray over here. It did come out. I just gently tapped it with my finger, that one, and it did come out. If it starts sticking, just add a bit more flour. So I'm just going to cut these out and then I'll pop them in the oven. They're going in like a medium to hot oven at about 170 degrees. So I'm putting mine on the lower shelves. They don't need to be too hot or else they can burn on the outside, especially because mine are a little bit thicker. So I'm going to cut some more out and put the sweets on, and then I'm going to put them in the oven. So here's another tray ready to go in the oven. As I say, I've just used the Smarties and I've used chocolate chips. These were just from Aldi because there was no dairy in those for the eyes. And I've tried to put the eyes in slightly different positions just to give them some slightly different facial expressions. You can use raisins, sultanas, currants, glacé cherries for big red noses. And then, as I say, I've put some sweets on there to make it look like lights on the Christmas tree. But again, you can use whatever you like for that. So these are now going in my oven. It's in a hot oven, well, medium to hot oven at about 170 degrees centigrade. So I'm not sure what the equivalent is. I'm afraid you'll have to look that up, but that's what we use over here, and these are going to be popped in the oven now. So my biscuits are ready now. Give them sort of 10 minutes and then check them, and then check them every couple of minutes till they go this gorgeous golden brown colour. Don't be tempted to leave them in too long like I do sometimes, or they do get a little bit burnt. But these look lovely. They will be quite soft and then they go harder as they cool down. They do expand a little bit, as you can see, but not too much. But you do need to leave a little gap in between them so that they can spread a little bit, because they do puff up slightly. But there we are. There is your reindeer biscuit. So I hope you found that helpful, and I hope you enjoy making some reindeer biscuits of your own. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe. The biscuits are really good if you eat them while they're still warm. My family love them when they're sort of fresh out the oven. You just leave them to cool down a little bit so they sort of don't burn your mouth, but they're still sort of soft and warm inside. Or if you like sort of harder ginger biscuits, let them cool completely and then they are more like the gingery snaps. So however you like your ginger biscuits, enjoy, and I'll see you tomorrow.